Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. My name is Daniel. As I've just said in the chat, I'm here in Melbourne, Australia. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to today's event, the Python Assessment Live walkthrough in collaboration with us here at FourthRev, but also obviously University of Cambridge Professional and Continuing Education, Cambridge PACE, as they rebranded to recently. Welcome. Good on you as well. And thank you for so many of you registering and giving your time to attend. I'm going to give you a thorough overview of the program first, but also the Python requirements, and I'll dive deep into how we can support you with that. And then once you've got the Python skills, the technical test, and give you the best opportunity of passing that to ensure you gain entry into this most innovative program. I'm head of enrolments here at FourthRev, and I love to engage with you as much as I can. So I will be asking you a couple of questions along the way. And feel free in the meantime to just in the chat function place where you're from currently, and all throughout the event. If you have any specific questions, pop them in the Q&A function. I'll be looking at that a bit more so than I will the chat function. So engage as much as you can, ask as many questions. Hello from Tokyo, great to see. And I'm here to support you, so I'll do the very best that I can. If there's any highly technical questions, I'll defer them to a response later, but I'm going to walk you through all of the assets. Firstly, a very quick program overview. Great to see people from Antwerp, Liverpool, Canada, London. We expect a few. Brilliant, thank you for engaging. This program is very, very unique. We take the opportunity of working with the University of Cambridge PACE to develop the Career Accelerator a couple of years ago. But what we did first was engage in true collaboration with both Cambridge and industry, leaders of industry in the data science field, to understand what employers are looking for in modern day data scientists in an ever-changing landscape, given the AI inclusions and the like. And what was non-negotiable from an employer perspective was the need for Python, number one, as the core language. But number two was a practical learning outcome with business application of learning. So in this program, it is highly technical, don't get me wrong, but it is extremely business applicable, demonstrating when you are applying for roles that you have not only the technical skills, but you have the knowledge and experience to apply that for business impact. That is the difference between you obtaining your dream role and potentially not, because that is exactly what significant employers told us they need when recruiting data scientists. So as you can see, there's 3 courses and a live industry facing project. I'll walk through this with some pace, but feel free to ask questions, and I'm happy to stick around afterwards and answer any other questions that you may have as well. You'll see there on the slide 3 courses. It's actually 4 with the employer project and 20 industry relevant activities, a lifetime of impact. That's 7 months of learning. It is intensive, and I'll get into the hours in a moment, but produces you, enables you to apply with confidence for data science roles, data aligned roles. And we do that in a number of ways, not only with the learning, but with the coaching I'll touch on in a moment as well. As I've already said, co-designed with University of Cambridge and industry leaders, along with us here at FourthRev, and a great deal of support in the form of the Cambridge academics, industry mentors, career coaches, and learning success team as well. Course 1, applying statistics and core data science techniques in business. So even from the title, you can see what I was mentioning in a moment ago about the business application of the technical. That runs for 6 weeks. There's 5 portfolio activities and 2 projects. There's no exams in this program. Again, employers were insistent on practical learning and evidential learning. So what I mean by that is learning that you can do and demonstrate to an employer the value of that. Think about it this way. If you were going for a job interview and you had your undergrad or something else similar in data science, and they said, how was the course? You said, it was great. I learned a lot and I got 80% on my exam. It's a bit of a conversation stopper. Picture this. How was your course with Cambridge? It was fantastic. And would you like me to show you my digital portfolio of evidence of what I achieved throughout the program? So each of those artifacts, if I can call them that, the 5 project portfolios and the 2 significant projects, all go towards you building a digital portfolio, GitHub portfolio or the like, that you would be proud to demonstrate in a interview, but also use for recruitment purposes to demonstrate on different platforms, LinkedIn and the like. Course 2, there's a little week's break between course 1 and 2, so you can submit your work, have a breather, get ready to get back into course 2, which is solving business problems with supervised learning. There's 11 portfolio activities that go towards you submitting your end of course project before a week off, and then course 3. Course 3 is a bit more in depth. It goes for 8 weeks, so there is a break in the middle of that to enable you to maintain your life and refresh as you go. But there's 6 portfolio activities and 2 projects. That's applying advanced data science techniques. All of your learning then wraps around the final piece of the Career Accelerator, really the cornerstone of the Career Accelerator, which is that 6-week live business project. To demonstrate, well, to just outline that for you quickly, yourself along with 4 or 5 other high caliber learners will meet with one of our employer partners. They'll present to you and give you access to both publicly and privately held data sets regarding a significant opportunity or challenge that they experience relating to data science in their business. As a team, you'll then, and through the application of learning from your first 3 courses, apply the learning to coming up with innovative and tangible solutions to that real business case, challenge, or scenario. And at the end, you'll present your recommendations and findings to that employer in a consultancy style presentation at the end. It's brilliant in a number of ways, in the fact that it gives you an opportunity to apply the learning in a real world sense, practical learning. It is brilliant to network more deeply, not only with your peers, but also leaders of industry. And lastly, it is a much more powerful demonstration of your value to a prospective employer, to demonstrate the fact that you have worked in that type of environment. So I've got a question for people first. Before I just jump into the entry criteria, I just want to know your level of Python experience thus far. Can you say in the chat function, are you able to put none, beginner, intermediate, or advanced? It'll help me frame how I present the rest of today's proceedings. So no Python experience, you've got some exposure, say you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Thank you. And it's not a problem if you don't have any. That's what we're here for, but it'll help me get through. And good to see that everyone's on a very similar level from what's coming through on the chat. It will certainly assist me in getting the message across. So how we also assist you in achieving your intended career outcome, which is our North Star metric as a company. Our North Star metric is career outcomes. That's what we measure our success with. How we do that is not only with the learning that I've demonstrated already and the practical nature of that and the industry engaged aspect of it, but we also offer an amazing opportunity for you to develop a relationship with a career coach throughout and beyond the Career Accelerator, enhancing your opportunities of achieving your intended outcome sooner. Career accelerators are exactly that, designed for you to go further faster. So you'll meet with a career coach early in the program. They'll help you define your intended career outcome, and then design a strategy in which you both work towards in achieving that. So that involves one-on-one meeting with an experienced executive style career coach. It's not just about what you put on your resume and things like that. This is about diving into values, aligning values with like roles, for example, highlighting your most valued transferable skills, because no matter what you did previously, employers value not just your new data science skills in many of the cases that we're looking at, but your transferable skills from what you've done before, no matter what it is. It could be in sales, it could be in software engineering. Who knows? You are going to bring a skill set over and above what this program offers that is valued. So it's good to learn from your coach ways in which to package that all up together for the benefit of employment outcomes, and obviously your intended outcome. Sometimes it's not an employment outcome that people are seeking. It's an application of learning in their current roles. We have PhD learners, for example, that are looking to add data science to their research thesis and the like. We've got executives that are looking to learn data science so they can better manage the team that involves a team of data scientists. There's all sorts of different people, but the majority are looking to change careers into a data related role. And many also are looking to advance their existing roles. So they're our two sort of demographics of learners. The career coaching, whenever we survey our learners post program, it is by far the most valued aspect of the Career Accelerator outside of the learning outcomes. Number one is learning. Number two, they were blown away with the value of the career coaching. So all throughout the program, once a month, you'll meet with your career coach. Most of our learners obtain their intended career outcomes within 6 months. We listen to our learners too, so now we extend the coaching by 6 months to ensure that you're able to focus on the learning during the program. And then when the time is right for you to potentially be applying for new roles, you've got the coach side by side with you, helping you prepare for the interviews, executing on strategy, getting feedback and actioning that for the next available opportunity should you miss out on one. Now, as I said, our North Star metric is career outcomes. Should you not obtain your career outcome within 6 months post, we'll continue coaching you for another 6 months. So that's potentially 18 months of career coaching, ensuring that you get that intended career outcome. It is very valuable. If you were to purchase, I don't know, an executive career coaching package of 18 months, it's what I've priced at around £2,500 to £3,000 worth of coaching embedded within the program at no additional cost to you. So practical learning, industry project, amazing networking opportunities, and career coaching lasting through to that period in which you obtain what it is that you intended to invest in yourself by undertaking this program. So entry criteria quickly. You need to have completed there's a number of ways to get entry into the program, but primarily you've completed a minimum of a bachelor degree. This is aimed at level 7 postgraduate learning. So you've completed a bachelor's degree with that contains a quantitative unit of study, or you've got relevant data related experience to make up for that if you don't have a degree. And that you have a year's experience in a data related role. It doesn't need to be an analyst. It doesn't need to be a scientist. It could be anything relating to data. It could be nursing when you're going through patient data and things like that. Anything that's had an exposure to data is going to satisfy that year's requirement that Cambridge do have for entry. And the last entry point is Python. And that's what we're here to discuss today. So it is a requirement to have the basics of Python under your belt prior to commencing. And that's most important because on day one, we really want to be teaching you data science, not the basics of Python. But again, we listen to our learners and we used to have arrangements with different providers of Python programs and things like that for you to do prior. We didn't like any of them. We didn't find that they were giving our learners what they want. So we designed our own. And I'll walk you through this now. So if you don't have any Python skills, or as most of you have said, beginner or none, there's some intermediates and things. This is open to anyone. And it's free for those that have secured a placement. And I'll get through the process in a moment about securing your placement, but you will have access to this. Sam, I'm just going to share my screen quickly. One second. So I hope this is sharing the correct process. So once you secure your placement, you secure your placement through a successful application and a deposit, we will give you this Python for Data Science course. Basically, it's around 60 hours, but you'll go through a little quiz at the commencement, and that will help ascertain your level of Python experience. So you may not need to do all of the modules, the 60 hours. You may only need to brush up on NumPy or Pandas or whatever it may be. But this Python course is comprehensive and it's designed specifically for learners for this program. So you'll get support. There's support available. You go through the modules in Canvas and you'll work out all the way through exactly what it's going to show you, or what it's going to help you achieve. And it's all quite neatly packaged in this learning management system. All integrated with AI as well as the course is, and you'll get instructions on how to install Python, all those sorts of things. just to give you an idea of what some of the quizzes look like. You might do some practice quizzes with no time limit. You can preview them here. It's a really, really valuable resource to get your Python experience up to the point of getting a greater return on your educational investment. When you actually start the program, you'll hit the ground running, and also learn the very, very basics that will enable you to do that for free. Basically, it's a 60-hour program that covers all of the different things that you will need to not only commence successfully, but also pass the technical test required if you don't have the prerequisite Python skills. So you'll see all of the different things in here to be able to look up the syllabus. You go through the rubrics, test quizzes, the modules here. Getting started with Python, we'll have a look at that quickly, using Python as a programming language. And it's really tailored to your level of Python experience. You can see that there's some video content, beginner-friendly languages, the many roles of Python. You'll see it will walk you through, and if you're intermediate, as some of you are, the quiz at the commencement will recommend that you don't need to do this, this, and this, but you may need to do this and this, for example. Just going back to the home page, where was it that I witnessed this? Was it modules? Basically, what it's going to cover is practice your learning. Obviously, here we go through NumPy, and then we'll work with pandas. We'll work with data visualization, and then last of all, if required, and then we'll move into quantitative comparisons and statistical. That all gets you ready to go for course number 1. So as you can see, there's a lot involved, and it's all free as well for those that secure their placement well ahead of time. It's going to take, some people might get through that in a week, 60 hours. Some people might take 2 or 3 weeks naturally. If you act today after this event, you've got plenty of time before the commencement of the program to get through Python, to sit the technical test. We've got someone that will support you with that as well, and I'll walk through some of that as well. So an amazing Python asset available to you. Just a reminder, if you've got any questions, pop them in the Q&A, not the chat function, as I'll be looking at that for the questions relating to this. Next, we're going to bring up the slides again, and I'll walk you through the technical test. So you've submitted an application, you've spoken with your enrolment advisor. Can I get an emoji actually from anyone that has a thumbs up if you've spoken with your enrolment advisor already? It's part of the requirement for entry, but we can talk through that, and we've got a great team on hand to support you. So this basically will be what happens next. Before we get to that test that's on the screen, you apply for the program, we assess your application, we reach out to you if we haven't spoken to you, or you book a time with your enrolment advisor, and we get a letter of offer from Cambridge, give you the letter of offer, you choose your payment plan, and I'll touch on that in a moment. I didn't touch on that when I was giving the overview, my apologies. And your 10% deposit secures your placement. We put you in the Python nurture sequence then, giving you access to that course. You go through the course and do the learning, and then we get to a technical test, which is the final sign-off that Cambridge PACE need before commencing the program on the 27th. So the technical test. So you've gone through all that process, you've done the Python learning, you're bustling with excitement, and last step is to pass or to attempt the technical test. 90% of our learners pass the technical test, and I haven't actually, since we launched this only for the last presentation, I haven't measured the difference between the provider we used to use and our own, but I would dare say it's probably 100% that go through this pass the technical test, not a problem. It's not overly challenging. It's not designed to put a barrier in place. It's designed to just tick off the fact that you know the basics to be able to start the course and get value from the course from day one, as I mentioned. So it's 13 questions, 10 are multiple choice, 3 are basic coding examples, and there's an 80% pass mark required. It's not timed, it is open source, but you must do it in a single session. You can't log out and then come back in later. You've got to do it in a single session, but it is open source. I know nothing about, I'm not a technical person at all. I got 100% using tools available to me on the multiple choice. I didn't go as well on the coding examples as you can imagine, but I found it very easy in that sense. And it was for someone like yourselves, it won't be a problem. So you've got up until a week before the course commences to complete both the program, the Python program, and the test. Um, and I'm sure many of you will do it sooner than that. That's the last step in securing your placement. Obviously, if you were to fail, we can help you in two ways. There's another program that we can help you with. When people, an analogy I use for data science is if you've had some experience and exposure to data, that's great. But for people that are coming from completely different fields and aiming to be data scientists, it is challenging. As you can imagine, it's a bit like going from nursing to being a surgeon without being a doctor first. And the doctor step can be exposure to data or an analytics type role or data analytics as that stepping stone, but it's not insurmountable. We've had many students do it successfully. Just bear that in mind as a stepping stone as well. Questions, I'll just check on the questions. I've got a question here regarding the fees. Before we move on, Sam, can you go back a slide to the overview? Sorry about that. I should have done this as well. So the price of the program is with all of that 18 months worth of coaching if you need it, and that career outcome guarantee is £8,395, and Cambridge certainly want to make that accessible to many. So there is a £500 fee reduction available if you do pay it up front, or we do have interest-free payment plans over 6 or 9 months with no interest, 10% deposit, no interest. And there's a longer payment plan available if that's still out of budget, which is with a finance provider in StepX. They have a 24-month payment plan only should you need it, but the only challenge with that is you won't get your certification from Cambridge until you finish the payment plan with them. It is subject to a £20 application fee and a finance application. That is open to EU and UK visa holders only. I apologise. And the prerequisite for it is that you're working and that you have your visa, if you're in the UK on a visa, is 12 months post the completion of the program. I hope that answers that. So just a refresher, £8,395, 20 hours a week with Cambridge, a blend of synchronous and asynchronous learning, meaning that you are attending live sessions with the Cambridge academics each week, usually one of a lunchtime, one of an evening, an industry mentor every session each fortnight, and then that career coaching monthly for the duration that you need. £500 fee reduction if you pay up front, or 6 or 9 monthly payment plans, or a 24-month payment plan with a finance application. Kanchana, thank you for your question. I apologise for that. So I'll come to Avik. I'll come to your question in a moment because I think there's going to be a few more that are similar. So back to the test. Sorry for jumping around a little. Let's look at a sample multiple choice question and a sample coding assessment. So what is the syntax for slicing a list? You'll get those pre-learnings, obviously, to be able to answer that. And then a sample coding assessment. Write your code in the editor. When you click submit, you can also select your language in the drop-down return type. Don't copy and paste blocks of code directly into the editor, but you can use tools in which to assist you with that. And make sure you remove the console.log to print statements. If you want to search documentation, use the browse resources. It is AI enabled as well to assist with that process. So that's a sample of what you can expect after you've done the Python course with the multiple choice questions and a sample coding assessment. Sam, next slide if we can. So onto the Q&A. Anyone have any questions? Pop them in the Q&A. We're going to move on to that now. Avik, thank you, Avik. So I'm not an engineering professional. I'm not an engineer. I have no idea about data science and machine learning, but I want to learn data science from scratch. How much is this course going to shape my career? Avik, what's your background? What's your profession? previously. If you can type it in the chat or the Q&A, either or, I'll answer this one specifically. And anyone else that has any additional questions before I move on to the next steps and the critical steps to secure your placement. Avik, it is challenging to go from zero to data scientist without learning other data skills in between. But as I said, it has been and can be done. And I think this program will certainly assist you achieve that much more cost effectively, can I say it that way, and quickly than a master's, for example, that employers are telling us graduates that they're employing they have the technical skills from a master's, they don't have the business application skills, and they're finding it very challenging to get people that know both. So it can be done, Avik. It is challenging to come from no experience to some, but it's a big investment too if you don't know what it involves. So I would highly recommend that you speak with your enrolment advisor first and foremost. And secondly, possibly look at a free course. If you wanted to do this one, we can get you through if you apply and secure your placement. But there's many other free courses that can help you dip the toe in the water. And it depends on your intended outcome, Avik. Is it employment in data science field? Is it to apply data science techniques in a different field? All those sorts of things come into it. So I think you can certainly do it. It will help. It will be challenging, but speak to your enrolment advisor about next steps and what other things you can do prior to taking the plunge. Here we go. We've got, thank you, Avik. Great question. If you let me know what it is that you've done previously, I might be able to tailor that even more. Graduate visa, will the employer support visa in the future? I'm not sure. So that's really up to yourself and a potential employer discussion that you may need to have. It's not, you can't do this program on a study visa, but if you're on a graduate visa, there's a chance that employers will support your learning. That question is really more so for you than me in relation and for a potential employer. I know this course will help you get an employer or a role that you're seeking for sure. It won't guarantee it. That's up to you to do the work and do the coaching and all those sorts of things that are going to put you in the best position to shine more so than other candidates. But in relation to visa continuation, that's up to you and the employer. Tanya, I recognise your name and congratulations. I've let the cat out of the bag there. Congratulations. I think I saw some activity. I know you've applied, Tanya, so well done. When is the start date of the main course? How much time would one have to do the Python course before the assessment? Excellent question, Tanya. So the course commences off the top of my head, it's on the 27th of October. So we've got a month. You'll have up until a week prior. In certain circumstances, we could extend that by a couple of days. So we've got the best part of 3 or 4 weeks between now and the course commencement to do the Python course. If you did 20 hours a week, that's more than enough. If you did 1 week of 30 and the second week of 30, it can be done. It's a big, on top of your other commitments, but it's actually quite enjoyable going through the way it's been designed. I think you'll find it more enjoyable than tedious or arduous. So Tanya, you've got up until, the course commences. Don't forget the first 2 weeks of the program are orientation as well. Getting you familiar with the learning management system, introducing you to your peers, to the Cambridge academics, to the industry mentors and the career coaches. And you start setting your career goals in that second week of orientation as well. So Tanya, in answer to your question, you've got the best part of 4 weeks to get through the 60-hour Python course if you need it all. Wouldn't be as many as 60 hours if you don't need it all. And you've got then that time in which to do the course with the quiz, which really should only take 30, 40 minutes after you've done that prerequisite course. If you haven't done it, it takes people, an hour or two. So you've got heaps of time, Tanya, and good on you. I recognise that you've applied. Hope that answers the question. Can I learn from the scratch from Cambridge? Caleb has asked, can I learn from scratch from Cambridge? I'm not sure what you mean there, Caleb, but if you're learning data science from scratch, it's a technical course that is challenging, as I mentioned for the other question earlier. And Cambridge are involved the whole way through with the learning process by giving you live live sessions with the Cambridge academics each week. So yes, you are learning with Cambridge. I hope that answers the question. I'm not sure. Troy, you work in a finance cashier role. How can the course help me, please? Well, Troy, it depends on your intended outcome, I guess. What is your intended outcome? So if it is from a finance cashier, if Troy, and you want to become a data scientist or you want a role that relates to data, yes, I think the best thing you can do, given what you've outlined there, is speak with your enrolment advisor either about data analytics as a stepping stone or what it will involve. So the course will help you with data science skills. Going from almost zero to data scientist in 7 months is intensive, and that's why it's 20 hours a week on top of your other life commitments. As I said earlier, there's live sessions, but there's also a lot of that is asynchronous learning, meaning that you choose when and how study fits in with your life. But Troy, if you haven't had any experience to data related roles or data or the fundamentals of how data is applied in business, there is a data analytics option that we do offer if you don't meet the criteria for this one as well. But again, speak to your enrolment advisor. They're more than skilled in having empathy for your current circumstances and realizing your aspirations and aligning what course is best for you as well. So it can certainly help. It just depends on what your intended outcome as well. So Caleb, thank you for extrapolating this. Studied agriculture and computer science university, but I want to start from scratch. Caleb, you're a perfect candidate, many candidates not dissimilar to yourself. And what I said earlier about having transferable skills that employers value in both of those fields, computer science and agriculture, and coupled with the data science skills and AI implementation skills that this program provides, you would be in high demand across, be it computer science, but especially agriculture. Data science in agriculture is booming, as you can imagine, and as you probably know better than I. So yes, you can start from scratch given your background with these skills as well. I think you'd be in a very, very good position to obtain many or be in demand for many roles. Sangeeta, is there demand for jobs in education field with data science? For example, working with data to help improving field of education in the UK? Yeah, great question. And I'm assuming that's your background and you're looking at ways in which to combine both. As I said earlier, we do have many learners that are currently either PhD students applying data science techniques and skills to their thesis. And we have had teachers go through changing careers from teaching to data science or adding data science to their repertoire within education. One example of that is Elodie. Elodie was a teacher. She was more mature. She had some data science skills and mathematics skills, but not much. She's now a data scientist within the NHS as a result of doing a career accelerator with us. So if that's what you mean, Sangeeta, let me just read it again. Is there any demand for jobs in the education field with data science? Good question. So sorry, I'll revamp how I answered that as well. All, especially universities, but all sectors are undergoing digital transformation. Someone much wiser than I a little while ago said this to me, Sangeeta. The pace of change has never been this fast and it will never be this slow again, which is inspiring and frightening, I guess, in a way. But it's wise words. So all sectors are going through digital transformation, and especially universities. So yes, there will be demand, and there is demand for data scientists within different aspects of research, within different aspects of education management and strategy and things like that. And there's examples already of where it's gone really well. And I'll give you an example of where it's gone wrong. So a university in California developed an AI model to improve their marketing and enrollments function. And without building the parameters of where it should, without doing it right, the outcome to the story is that on day one of the new semester, where the first semester they'd used this AI tool, the professor looked out amongst the new students, new college students, and there was no diversity, none, for the first time that he ever remembered. What had happened was they didn't put the right parameters and didn't have the data science and AI skills to engineer the model to do it correctly. They just let it run. And what the AI did was recognize that there were basically two or three zip codes in California that the rich students that paid on time that successfully passed came from, and it eliminated, there was a bias that was generated. So the education's using it. It needs people with the skills to use it properly. So yes, in a long-winded way, there are demands in that field. Thanks, Sangeeta. I don't have Python, so Sabajay has asked here. I don't have Python data science experience, but a computer science engineer with 20 years of experience, mostly in trading technologies, Java, no Python, very common. That also deals with some data analysis, market data. I recently moved to data technologies internally within my org. I want to move to DS, AI, and ML, but in a senior leadership role. Is this the right course for me? That is music to my ears in the sense that I'll answer that with one question, one word. Absolutely, Subhajit, because of the business application of the technical that I mentioned all throughout this session so far. This is designed for you to demonstrate that that is the skill that you want, or that you can provide the value for your employer. Absolutely. I don't think there's a more relevant course available to you. It's not a master's that you need at all. You've got the technical. You'll learn more of the technical throughout this program, but you'll also enhance your business application, your managerial skills throughout that, through leading data innovations and the like as well, but also the implementation and cross-functional implementation of some of the data science and AI skills that you obtain. Absolutely. I want you to submit your application, Mr. Roy, because I think you'll be a very, very strong candidate and get great return on your investment. Joseph's asked here, if I encounter some difficulties while studying the Python course, is there either a form of assistance one can get to surmount such and be grounded in the Python course? Yes, there are. I won't share my screen again, but yes, there are via email support that you can get support for that. Absolutely. And the way it's set up also, whilst it is self-directed, that course, I should have mentioned that all before. So good question, Joseph. Whilst it is self-directed, you don't have live sessions, there's not a tutor or anything like that. It is developed to take you on a journey from little to no experience and build that through. But if you do experience any difficulties, there's a simple email address and they get back to you promptly. Does working full-time, 40 hours a week, 9 to 5 affect as times for the studies? Great question. So it is designed to fit in with you more so than you fit in with university. We realise that our learner demographic isn't those that have just graduated university, for example, or high school. It is more mature learners that are looking to make a mid-career pivot or advance their existing careers. So that's why, even though the hours are comprehensive, on average 20 hours a week, some weeks you'll do more, some weeks you'll do less for sure, but it is designed asynchronously, so you choose when to study. I'll walk everyone through what a week would look like, because it's a really important question and consideration. And don't get me wrong, to do 20 hours on top of your 40 hours a week, there are sacrifices that need to be made. So Monday, you get home from work, you've got new content to dive into. You have something to eat with the partner or whatever you do, and you dive in and get a couple of hours study under your belt to start the week off right. You realise there's one or two sections that you're a bit stuck on, or that you have some questions surrounding. You check the chatter amongst the student cohort that are always engaging with each other on our platform, and you might see an answer to something that you were stuck on there already, or you know that on Tuesday you're going to raise that question with the Cambridge academic. Then Tuesday lunchtime, you let your boss know during lunch, I've got to lock myself in the office, I'm doing study. You'll meet with Dr. Alexia from Cambridge as a cohort, and she'll walk you through the modules for that week, answer some questions, but give you a really deep overview of the academic rigor behind the content that you'll be going through that week and the principles thereof. You get home that night and you're motivated to do a bit more. You get another, say, 2.5 hours under your belt, and you're off and running in the module. You're engaging with the other learners in the chat and the like as well. Wednesday comes around and you've had a really tough day at work. And this is important. You've had a tough day at work, you get home and you see your partner's curled up on the couch watching your favorite Netflix thing, and you're thinking, I really can't be bothered studying. It was a tough day, you had a tough commute home, whatever. The only thing I'll ask you to do is show up. And what I mean by that is if you log on and do 10 minutes and then say, you know what, I can't do it tonight. I'm not doing it. That's fine. I'll put it off till tomorrow. You sit down with the wife, you open a glass, you have a glass of wine or whatever, and you watch, you catch up on an episode of whatever series you're into and that she's way ahead of you on because you've been studying, um, he or she, then at least you know you've given it that 10 minutes and you've made an educated decision. Otherwise, you're sitting on the couch, you're watching the series and you're not concentrating, you're thinking, oh, I should be studying now, rally, rally, rah. Or you show up for 10 minutes, you go down a rabbit hole of research and then looking at data sets, and you actually look at the clock and you've done another hour, hour and a half, and you pat yourself on the back and said, I could have sat on the couch tonight, but I actually got an hour and a half done, and that's enough for tonight. Thursday comes around. Thursday evening, there's a follow-up session with Dr. Alexia um, from Cambridge around Q&As stemming from the modules that you've undertaken, or there'll be an industry engagement mentor session and the like. And you'll do it, after that 1 hour session on a Thursday evening and around 7, you'll do another couple of hours. Friday night, you have takeaway. You might look at something, you might not. And then you've probably got a couple of hours on a Saturday and a couple of hour block on a Sunday. That's what study looks like. So there are sacrifices. It can be done. It's certainly almost all of our learners are working. Some are studying, some have study breaks. Don't get me wrong, but almost the majority of our learners are working full time. But you need to communicate also with those around you about the commitment that you're making to yourself and to your family or to your partner or to the workplace, whoever it is that is also going to benefit from you obtaining your intended career outcome and potentially much higher pay grades and things like that. So if it is the husband and the kids or the wife and the kids, you've got to bring them on the journey. How proud will you be of mum or dad studying at Cambridge, number one? Number two, I'm so delighted to hear that you'll be proud of me, but it does involve a lot of commitment. So for the next 6 months, 7 months, mum's going to be the one that takes you to sport on Saturdays because mum or dad has that's their study time. Do you buy into that? Will you be proud of me once I achieve? That's the sort of conversation you need to have and to understand for those around you that you're making sacrifices, not only for your benefit, but hopefully for their benefit as well. So that's what a typical week would look like, one would suggest. When you don't feel like it, you show up for 10 minutes, you make an educated decision to shut it down after 10 minutes, or you find that rhythm, and that's where it can really make a difference in getting things done. Sam, I have an educational background in architecture and have cost consulting quantity surveying experience as my career, but I'm looking towards transitioning to data science, not necessarily in the construction industry. Would this be a good background to transition? Yes, I'm going to read out some things for the audience now. I'll just read it off my screen. I'll look at the data of who we've enrolled previously, and this is a little dated now. I need to update this, but essentially there's 5 backgrounds in which our typical learners come from. They're business management backgrounds, so you've got people like business development managers, CEOs, change managers, founders, vice presidents, wholesale managers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are people from construction backgrounds as well. The next one is what you would expect. There's people that are from data and analytical backgrounds. They're the second most popular, behind engineering and technology. So application developers, senior software engineers, there's a structural engineer. So that engineering and technology background is what I think is the most common. Then we've got research and scientists. So as I've said, PhD learners, senior bioinformaticians, postdoctoral scientists, research chemists, those sorts that are looking to add data science skills. And lastly is consulting and advisory. This is probably the least amount of learners, but there are governance leads, investment associates, finance principals, principal consultants, digital consultant and project solutions consultants and the like. That's a snapshot. It's a very broad and rich learning environment as it is, but add a diverse range of backgrounds and locations and intended outcomes to that mix. It becomes a very rich peer-to-peer network that you develop as well, as I've just demonstrated. Diving into the discussions, putting thought bubbles into a discussion, sharing your application of learning in the real world. Those sorts of things help you get more out of it because it lifts other people. And then when you get to the industry project as well, you go and have a really, really amazing opportunity to dive deeper into the relationships that you develop all throughout the course. So, Sam, great question. Yes, is the answer. I think you'd have a great background to transition and have many transferable skills. Emmanuel, will the classes be live or pre-recorded? And will there be penalties for missed weekly modules, i.e. I miss 1 week's assignment? Will I lose points for that? Great question. All of the classes are held live, but recorded if you can't attend. So you can always catch them up. I should say it is a requirement to either attend or view 80% of those live sessions with the Cambridge academics to ensure that you're on the right track and the like. So yes, they're live, but the if it's your birthday or something and you don't want to attend a university lecture, you can watch it later, not a problem. I should say the content is full of all different types of media as well. So as you're clicking through a module, you'll have research pieces to do. You'll get real business case scenarios that we've developed with industry to work on and to understand and to apply in your portfolio and the like. And then there'll be video content. It could be the former chief data scientist at the Bank of England speaking of that particular topic. So as you go through, you watch a video, you do some research, you access some data sets, you'll click through the modules in a similar vein to what I demonstrated earlier, but much more rich media and variety in the actual program as well. Will there be penalties for missed weekly modules? Let's reframe that question, Emmanuel, and say, are there bonus points for completing early? I'm the optimist. I'm the glass half full, Emmanuel. The first step is communication, Emmanuel. If you've got a student success manager that's available to you for anything course related, and should you experience a challenge along the way that needs a little bit more time to submit your work, I'm sure they're more than, or they are willing to help and provide that. In terms of if it gets beyond that, then yeah, I think there is, but you'll be in constant contact with your success manager. They'll be prompting you proactively if you are falling behind, but you'll also have the opportunity of booking a one-on-one with them if needed to help you, stick to your study plan. The key is communication, though. You've always got to communicate if things aren't going so well. Sangeeta, is it Thursday evening live session? It's not recorded as I'm working in the Thursday evenings. I think course unit one or course one generally is Tuesday lunchtime and Thursday evening. Although I apologise, I should have that confirmed. It could be different for the upcoming intake, but I would be either way. You'll certainly get calendars and things like that ahead of time. I think the course one is usually Tuesday lunchtime and Thursday evening. You can attend lunchtime live and watch the recording on a Thursday. It won't be a problem, Sangeeta. So let's get to the next slide if we can, Sam. Process. If you haven't done so, what I want you to do first is apply. So submitting an application is really painless. It just involves you uploading your transcript if you need to. If you've done a bachelor degree in mathematics, we don't need to see the modules. It goes without saying that contains quantitative units of study. If it's any of those architectural, as we mentioned before, any of those that are a given that contain quantitative units, just take a photo of your certification on your wall if you need to. We don't need to see the transcripts. If it's something like an MBA, we need to see the transcripts that you've done a finance module, for example, that contains quantitative learning, and that'll be fine. So all you need to do to apply is upload your certification of your previous studies or a transcript if not sure, your resume, and your identity documents. So in the chat now, there's a link to the application portal. It'll take 30 seconds once you've got all those documents together, maybe a minute or two at the most. That will be the first step in reserving your placement, because in all honesty, we cap our learning numbers and we're getting close to closing off the intake due to the numbers that we already have. We want to make it accessible to many, although we don't want to dilute the learning experience. So if we were to take 300 or 400 learners in an intake, it would mean currently we would need 20 or 30 learners on a project team, and that would dilute your roles and responsibilities within the project. We don't want to do that. It's a premium course with Cambridge. We cap our numbers. So that's the first step to reserving your placement. If you then haven't spoken yet with your enrolment advisor, they'll reach out to you, or highly recommend that you book a time in advance to catch up with them. Their calendars are pretty full, so best to do that as well. Apply, book a time with your enrolment advisor, receive your offer after you've had a discussion with your enrolment advisor, and secure your placement with that 10% deposit or your upfront payment should you wish to get that fee reduction of £500. Then we'll give you access to the Python program and course, and you start learning before you take the technical test. I just want to double check that date. Sorry, I'm just going to double check that date. I apologise if I got that wrong earlier. No, it is the 27th of October. So onboarding starts on the 27th, not the 20th. But I think, complete the test by the 20th if we can. The 27th is the commencement date of that 2 weeks of onboarding. So then you become a data scientist or get your career outcome in 2026. That's the process. Apply so you can reserve your placement. If you haven't yet, speak with your enrolment advisor, and hopefully you've already got your application in so they can process it, present it to the admission team, and get a letter of offer within 24 hours, hopefully. I can see another question that's come through. For those that have secured their placement, who do they access Launchpad? Joseph, great. If you've secured your placement, I'm delighted. Thank you. We did have a data leader Launchpad available, and there may be still some placements available. I haven't checked if that's the case, but I know it was very, very popular. You will have two things. There's a session, pitch session that is being arranged, and you'll have a coach reach out to you likely next week to book in the two pre sessions. They download the list of learners every Friday and then reach out and book time. So you should be expecting that to commence next week. Thank you, Joseph, and thank you all. I'm here for another couple of minutes if there's anything else that you need, other than to say, well done, first and foremost, on educating yourself. At some point in the last however long, you've done a search or you've seen an ad of ours or something's prompted you to take a step of inquiry. Excellent. That's a positive thing. Learning more about what's out there, comparing it to other programs, doing whatever it is that you're currently doing. Then you've seen the opportunity of attending this session and you've made a decision to do that. Good on you. Another step, another commitment to yourself. Now it's about that next step, the final step of saying, no, I've found what is right for me. I've had Daniel answer my questions. I've spoken with Otto or Sonia or one of my enrolment advisors, Tanya, Haley or Marika. We've got many working on this program. And they've answered the questions and I'm ready to take that next step. I'm going to submit my application and I'm going to speak to my family about the commitment that I'm going to make over the next 7 to 9 months with the festive break and all those sorts of things. So it is taking that next step. You've made an inquiry, you've educated yourself, you've attended the event, you've got more education behind you about what we offer and the value proposition and the free Python course of 60 hours, all those sorts of things. Now it's about taking that final step and taking the plunge. Congratulations to those like Joseph and others that already have as well. There's a couple of final questions. Is the formal qualification accredited by the University of Cambridge? The final, it's a certification, not a qualification, and yes, it comes from University of Cambridge. So it will say data science with machine learning and AI career accelerator, successfully completed, University of Cambridge, professional and continuing education. I think we might even have an example, or you'll certainly see it on LinkedIn. Whilst you're there, actually, Sam, in the background, I'm not sure if you've got handy Sheldon's example. So he's posted his progress on LinkedIn, but also has his portfolio available on LinkedIn. If we've got that, we'll see if we can't bring it up and pop it in. If not, we'll include it in the recording email that'll go out. So thank you for that question. It is certification by the University of Cambridge, professional and continuing education designed exactly for learners like you. We'll include it in the email. We'll include a link out to Sheldon's and some of you may have already seen it anyway, a former learner on the program who documented his learning journey. Thank you all. It has been my absolute pleasure to speak with so many of you. Once again, congratulations to you. Um, we've got one more question from Sam. I'm wrapped. How does the program prepare individuals for AI roles have been utilised in the industry to do entry-level tasks? How does the program prepare individuals for AI's role of being utilised in the industry to do entry-level tasks? Not sure, Sam, what you mean by that. However, AI is used all throughout, and there's a dedicated module as well on, but the machine learning that you'll be undertaking is the basis of AI. So you'll be engineering AI tools and the like in the background as well. So AI is, one of the cornerstones of learning throughout the program. It's not, using chat as a search function. It's deeply technical behind the what drives artificial intelligence through machine learning and the like as well. So um, I'm not 100% sure on that on your question, but you will be an AI expert in both a technical sense and an application sense of how it impacts workplace. It won't give you the basics of using chat you'll use chat all throughout or your selected AI tool, don't get me wrong. So yeah, it'll help you a great deal with that, but it will help you potentially design AI tools in the future as well. Hope that answers your question. I hope it does. Thank you all once again. Feel free to reach out to me or your enrolment advisor should we be able to assist. We hope to see your application come through so we can reserve one of the final placements available, but give you also the value package that is on offer, especially that Python course, to give you the confidence to start and to get a greater return on your educational investment. It's about taking the next step. You've taken a fantastic one today. I hope I've answered all your questions. We look forward to welcoming you to the program, this most innovative program. We look forward to supporting you with the Cambridge academics, the success managers, the career coach, the industry mentor. But most of all, we look forward to celebrating your success, be that a new role, be that an advancement in your current environment, be that applying data science skills to your current role, whatever it may be that you're seeking to do. We look forward to celebrating your journey to achieving that and ultimately achieving that. That's what the Career Accelerator is all about. Go further, faster. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Thanks to Sam in the background for putting the event together. Apply now, book a time with your enrolment advisor, and we'll get the outcome. You'll get the outcomes that you're investing in yourself to achieve. Thank you all. Have a great day.